do you think it's not too dramatic to say that the growth of your faith depends on these pauses and on engaging in them? So here are the options. The first one we'll put out as daily, the daily option to pursue Sabbath. I struggle with daily habits. Some of you are really good at this one. Taking time daily to pray, to read scripture, to let your emotions catch up with you, to take at least 15 minutes, which is not like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna sit here for 15 minutes? If it's not 15 minutes for you, that's okay. I'm not trying to set like minimums on this thing. I just think it probably takes at least 15 minutes to let your Sabbath sadness hit, process those things, and then turn to joy, and then think of how I'm going to bless somebody in my community today, and to remember your dependence on God, some gratitude. But those things can be worked into 15, 20 minutes. So maybe for you, it's being really intentional, saying, I don't have the time. You do not typically choose the time, right? These are different statements. Okay, so maybe it's up earlier, maybe it's later, maybe it's leaving work on your lunch break. But you could do this one, okay? Maybe this one fits well for you. Again, I really struggle with daily habits. Also, so what I don't struggle with as much is checking some boxes. I struggle a little bit with checking some boxes on reading scripture and engaging in prayer. That and pausing are different things. Letting my emotions catch up, leaning toward joy, thinking about how I'm going to bless the people around me and engage in community. Those things, recognizing my dependence on God, that's more than just some activity. For me, I get to control, for the most part. There are some things like this where I sort of have to be there, but for the most part, I get to control my own work schedule. I know a lot of people don't have that benefit. I'm really grateful for it. What it means is that for us, our offices are closed on Friday. Friday is typically Sabbath day for me. So one of the pauses to practice or pursue is weekly, right? Which is how this is set up in Exodus 20. There'll be a weekly pause. And for me, that is the easiest one to create. But again, I was doing a different spiritual discipline at some point, or trying it, and I was expressing to my friend Wayne that it didn't seem like it was working. I didn't like it. It was a struggle for me. And he goes, I've found that if we actually do these things with God, they go better. And I went, that is what I was missing. I was checking the box. I was doing the thing. And I needed to actually be sitting with God. So if you're going to weekly Sabbath, to be intentional about it, to say, okay, what is it going to look like to intentionally experience joy on this day? To engage in community or encourage somebody in my community, to make sure that my inputs are more than my outputs, to remember that the world goes on without me. So I think it's important to actually be really, really present on that day. So the temptation is, so let's say I take it on Friday. I need to make sure, because the temptation is to cheat the end of it and get ready for Saturday, or to use some part of it to get ready for Saturday or Sunday. I need to make sure that by Thursday, I've wrapped up whatever I need to do for Saturday so that I'm actually present on that day. And I'm not thinking about what's coming up the next day or that I need to prepare for it. Maybe praying towards it, excited about it, whatever, but actually being willing to be present on that day. So again, whether it's daily, whether it's weekly, how do you actually pause and be present just in that moment, not living in the last week for very long, not living in the day to come, present in that. And then the third pause that I'd encourage us to pursue is, I'll call it quarterly. Again, this is modeled after God instituting these feasts, these 7 feasts a year. There is something about actually taking a couple of days, a week maybe. I don't know what this would look like for you. Maybe it's annual, and you just make sure you take 10 days, or something for a longer, intentional pause. What if our vacations or our staycations were not as much about entertainment and memory making, but more about dependence and joy and community? Like, what if we were just intentional about how we experienced them? It's the same activities. It can be the same type of trip, just with a different intention and recognition. What would it look like for you to spend a couple of days maybe getting away from everybody and turning the phone off, and whatever it may look like for you to actually pause? Again, some different pauses to pursue. Because of how my life works, I just assumed that the weekly one would be the easiest. And then somebody I was talking to was like, give me the daily one. I can do the daily one. Okay, great. If you're not doing any of these, pick one, start on it. Again, the growth of your faith actually does depend on this.